Well, what's up, y'all? Welcome to the G.I. Justin channel. Glad you guys tuned in. I really appreciate that. So, we've had a couple of topics we've kind of rolled back to and talked about a whole bunch recently because the news just keeps coming. And here we are again. So, really, what we got going today is just another signpost that we need to start paying attention as a nation to what the rest of the world is doing. So, basically a man that our federal government says has been spying for the Chinese government was just arrested in Boston. This guy was born in the 50s and basically was indicted on conspiracy to act as a foreign government agent and acting as an agent of a foreign government without notice to the United States. So he was arrested this week. He made his initial appearance in court in Boston, where an interpreter basically informed him what the charges were against him. So part of the deal there is foreign governments are allowed to have people working for them in the United States, but they have to inform us what they're doing. Kind of the same way we have to with them. Granted, yeah, we got our people out there and we got our spies and whatnot, but, they have to inform us when they have officials acting in the United States. And with this guy in this particular case, they didn't do that. So basically, kind of where it goes, the indictment alleges he worked with a handler, somebody feeding him information back and forth from Beijing, and basically he gave a ton of information to the Chinese government about what we were doing. The allegations basically say that he provided the government through his handler in New York with a significant number of dossiers on people who they could recruit to be spies for the Chinese government. Basically, his entire job was to get out into the community and see who they could turn and who they could recruit through their various methods. And really the people that they're looking for are either people who have an axe to grind with the United States, or financial problems, marriage problems, drug problems, people with issues that would require them to really appreciate some help from another country. So back to some of his alleged activity, and I'm gonna read this directly here. Some of his alleged activity included photographing anti-Chinese dissidents in front of the Boston Public Library, putting faces and names to the U.S.-based activists, who he described as a bunch of clowns trying to cause trouble. He communicated by telephone and by phone apps, the indictment says, describing in the documents that he basically was putting names and faces together for who was committing anti-Chinese things in the United States, on top of trying to recruit people. So apparently he gave the Chinese government knowledge of people who destroyed People's Republic of China flags in Chinatown, and then named them specifically as the people responsible. Now the question becomes then, why would he be doing that? What actions is the Chinese government going to take in the United States against American citizens who are basically utilizing their First Amendment rights? They can burn any flag they want, to include the Chinese and the American flag. I mean, it's not my favorite thing in the world, but this is America, and the freedom of speech there's a reason why it's number one. And why is this guy putting together basically hit lists of people that are doing things against China in America? So those are the two things we got so far. He's recruiting people who can be used by the Chinese government, and then he is putting together a hit list, basically, of people who are doing anti-Chinese activities in the United States. So basically, moving forward next month, and I'm going to go right back to reading this here, from last month, he purportedly inquired about the political standing of a local lawyer, which shows basically trying to see if this lawyer would assist him in providing names of people who were pro-Thai, like Taiwan, pro-Taiwanese. So this article that I'm reading from goes on further. He's basically trying to co-opt people into helping out with the Chinese government, and he founded an alliance for the peaceful unification of China and became its vice president, according to this. So this really raises a lot of questions, and the questions become, like I'm saying, what was he recruiting people for? Obviously, he's trying to create some discord in America amongst people who may be interested in us protecting Taiwan, which is something we are very, very focused on at this point, because Taiwan makes computer chips. And these computer chips go in basically all of our military defense system. All of our military equipment utilizes a lot of the chips that come from Taiwan, which is why we've kind of drawn a red line in the sand and told China, hey, don't attack Taiwan. We will defend them, even though they're a tiny country and perhaps belong to you. We don't know. But what he's doing is recruiting people and then finding out who in the Chinese communities in Boston were pro-Taiwanese, putting together these hit lists, and then starting these anti-Taiwan community outreach groups. So this kind of, in my opinion, tips China's hand a little bit. They're aware that as it stands right now, they can't attack Taiwan. They're not in a position to do so because they're aware that the U.S. government has the backing of the U.S. citizenry to defend Taiwan. But if they can get some anti-Taiwanese agents involved in the United States, maybe sway public opinion even a little bit, then they can get the situation where it's a little more favorable for them to attack because the backing of the U.S. people may not be behind the military. And if you look at our wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, even all the way back to Vietnam, there's no better way to defeat the U.S. military than on the home front. And obviously, this guy is not the only person they have doing this. So I think it is interesting to see where this story goes because this kind of tips their hand. It kind of shows, like I'm saying, exactly what it is they're trying to do, which is root out who it is in America in the Chinese and Asian populations that could be used by them. Also root out who it is that is against them that they may need to take action against, all while creating seemingly legitimate associations who can perhaps turn the American opinion on Taiwan. So this is a really interesting article. I mean, it kind of goes to show, like we're saying, we really do need to be paying attention. The world is not at face value as we see it with a whole lot of what's going on. And we really need to be cognizant of that in terms of how we deal with these foreign powers and how we deal with what they're doing to us. I mean, like I said, I have no knowledge of what it is that we do, but I guarantee you, our government's pretty darn good at doing the same thing. So I'm curious to see where this goes. And I really enjoyed the comments from yesterday. So tell me what you guys think about this. Do you think we should take a hard line with China and say, look, call it one of your dudes? Or do we just take this guy and throw him in jail and that's it because we're playing the same game over there? Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching the video today. Down here in the corner is going to be a little helicopter. It's me flying in Afghanistan, believe it or not. And one of these days, like I've been saying the last couple days, I'll tell that story. But hit that thing. That's the subscribe button. I can use your subscription. Seriously, it means a ton to me. It helps me know what content you guys like. So I really appreciate that. And thank you guys for liking, commenting on the videos. It's super cool to me to get to talk with y'all. So thanks so much. Have an awesome day.